Good morning, second graders, and happy Wednesday. Today we're going to be doing lesson 9. We're going to be becoming adverb experts a little more today. Before we do that, we're going to start out with our story for the day. Let's go ahead and begin. Today you're going to be looking again at the story The Warhawks. That's the same one that we read yesterday. So you're going to need page 20 through 22 in your packet. I'm going to give you some time to go ahead and reread that story by yourself. So remember, this is one that we read together yesterday, so you've heard it once before. I want you to use your reading strategies today to sound out all the words the best you can. Don't forget to also read the captions underneath the pictures. That gives you some more important information that you'll need in the story. So go ahead and get your packet, open to page 20, press pause on the video, and I'll meet you back here when you're done reading to go over some questions. See you in a second. Nice job rereading The Warhawks. I'm going to go ahead and ask you some questions about what you just read. These questions were meant to be on page 32 of your packet, but there was a mistake when it got printed, so the wrong page is on there. So don't worry about doing page 32. You can totally skip it. That was just there by mistake. So skip page 32. And we're going to work together on those questions right here, right now. Okay? Here are the directions. They're at the top of the slide. It says, if a statement is correct, write true on the line. So if the statement is correct, you're just going to say out loud, true. If the statement is not correct, you're going to say false. Also, you need to keep that packet in front of you because you're going to look back in the story and you're going to tell me the page number where it tells you the answer, where it tells you if that statement is true or false. Let's go ahead and get started. So here for number 1, I'm going to read you this statement. You're going to look back in your story and you're going to tell me if it's true or false. When you're deciding the page number, look at those small page numbers that are at the bottom when you're looking at your reader. So it should be starting with page 24. Okay, number 1. Most American merchants and traders wanted to declare war on Great Britain. Many Americans who lived in Western states wanted to declare war on Great Britain. Go ahead and answer that question. Is that true or false? Look back in the story and find the page where it tells you that answer. All right, did you get it? Let's check our work. This statement is false. This one was kind of tricky. The last part of what I said is true. It says many Americans who lived in Western states wanted to declare war on Great Britain. They did, but if we look at that first sentence, most American merchants and traders wanted to declare war on Great Britain. That part's not true. So because that's not true, the whole thing is false. That was on page 24, the first page, where it was talking about what the merchants wanted out of this war. They didn't want to go to war, remember, because they were worried about all the things that would happen if they went to war. Let's try another. This statement says Americans who were angry at the British and wanted a war were called warhawks. True or false? Look back in the story and find the page where it tells you. Let's check our work. Hopefully you said that this was true. This was the main point of the story. The people who were angry at the British and wanted that war were called warhawks. This was on page 26 of your story. Let's try another. In 1812, a merchant was the president of the United States. What do you think? Let's check our work. This statement is false. President Madison was the president during 1812, and it does not say anywhere in our story that he was a merchant, so that's false. We found that on page 24, where they were talking about who the president was at the beginning. They said the president was James Madison, and it didn't say anything about him being a merchant. Last one. In 1812, the size of the United States was the same as it is today. True or false? I'm going to give you a big hint. Remember I told you when we first started reading to make sure you read the captions today? You're going to find this answer in one of the captions underneath the pictures. Good job. If you said this statement was false, the United States was not the same size in 1812. On page 27, you saw a picture of what the United States looked like, and if you read the caption, the words under the picture, it told you that the United States was much smaller in 1812 than it is now. Good work on our story today. Let's move on to talk about adverbs. All right. So we've talked all week about how adverbs describe verbs. When we look for adverbs, we always want to find the verb first and then the adverb that modifies it. Let's take a look at some examples before you get to work practicing this again today on your own. Our first sentence says, the moon shines brightly at night. Find the verb in that sentence, the action. Good. The verb is shines. Remember, we wiggle underline verbs, so that's what we're going to practice doing today. We're going to wiggle underline the verb. Now we need to find the adverb. Remember, we can find the adverb by asking ourselves how. So how does the moon shine? Good. The moon shines brightly. Remember from yesterday we put a triangle around the adverb, so I'm going to go ahead and do that here. Today we're going to add on putting an arrow from our adverb to our verb because that adverb modifies or describes the verb. Brightly is talking about how the moon shines. Awesome. Let's check out another example. The little girl slurped the juice from her cup noisily. So a lot of times we've been seeing the adverb come right after the verb, just like in the last one. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Adverbs are tricky and they can be hiding anywhere in your sentence. So again, let's start by first finding the verb. Let me read this one more time. The little girl slurped the juice from her cup noisily. What's the verb in this sentence? Say it out loud. Good job. The verb is slurped. So I'm going to wiggle underline it to show that that is the verb. Now we ask ourselves how. How did the little girl slurp the juice? What's my adverb? Go on a hunt. See if you can find it. Good. My adverb is noisily. That means loudly. So she slurped noisily. That's how she slurped. And then I'm going to draw my arrow from noisily all the way over to slurped. This adverb was far away from the verb that it modifies. That's going to happen sometimes. Let's try another example. I carefully finished my homework so that I would have no mistakes. What's the verb in this sentence? Nice. This time the verb is finished. How did I finish my homework? Good. I finished my homework carefully. This time the adverb came before the verb. Again, adverbs can be anywhere in a sentence. Carefully describes how you finished. So remember, the arrow is always going to point to the verb. The arrow comes from the adverb because the adverb is what describes the verb. So you're seeing this arrow can point any direction. It just depends where your adverb is and where your verb is in the sentence. So make sure you're drawing your arrow from your adverb over to your verb. Let's try one last example. The kids played nicely together. What's the verb in this sentence? Say it out loud. Good job. The verb is played. So I'm going to wiggle underline that verb. And I'm going to ask myself, how did the kids play? What's the adverb? Say it out loud. Great job. The adverb is nicely. So I'm going to put my triangle around nicely. Then I'm going to draw my arrow from nicely over to played. Good job. Okay, here's the worksheet that you're going to complete today. This is on page 33 of your packet. This one is due for homework, so as soon as you finish it, please make sure you send a picture of this page to your teacher so that we can give you credit for your hard work on this. On this sheet, you're going to do exactly what we were just practicing. It says read each sentence and first draw a wiggly line under each verb. Then draw a triangle around the adverb. Then, last step, draw an arrow from the adverb pointing to the verb it modifies. So wiggle underline the verb, triangle around the adverb, arrow from the adverb to the verb. Let's try number 1 together, and then you can get started finishing the rest on your own. Number 1 says, I rode my bike slowly up the hill. What's the verb in that sentence? Okay, the verb is rode, so you're going to wiggle underline that. Go ahead and do that on your paper. And then ask yourself the question, how did I ride my bike? Good, I rode my bike slowly. Slowly is my adverb, so I'm going to put a triangle around slowly. And then I need to draw my arrow going from my adverb over to my verb. That's it. I'm done. Go ahead and complete number 2 through 7 by yourself. Again, make sure you send a picture of that completed assignment to your teacher when you're finished so they can give you credit for your hard work. We are not going to have a video tomorrow, so I have a link down below for a fun little activity that you can do to practice R-controlled vowels, which is what your activity page is going to be about tomorrow. You'll have some just review pages to do. So tomorrow, when you get ready, sit down to do your schoolwork, come back to this video, go to the link down in the description, click on that, and you can do some silly moves to help you practice R-controlled vowel sounds. All right. I will see you again with a brand new video on Friday, so watch out for that. I'll see you then. Have a good one.